Right, so we're going to start with a new little bit and show what it looks like so far. Is that recording now? Okay, yeah. So this is how we're looking now with some lovely Pawsies. This is got round and lovely profile from the side. You can't see it, so there we go. And then all the way back round. And yeah, these are such good paws, but they're very impractical for doing anything. So I'll just do this off to give you a bit of a pause. Right, so a little bit of recording here just to show you that it's. Oh, I know. We should change the audio to that one from that one. Yeah, okay. And to show that we've got pretty quick response with the old avatar, but I'll just go through the hand pause in a moment. Okay, so we're back to do a normal thing of just doing a sort of slideshow from VR chat and making a complete mess of things. But one thing is I don't want to do any editing of stuff. I haven't got time for that because I'm an amateur and things are getting ahead of me as usual. So let's have a little look. So this was a quick test piece of a paw pad. It's quite squishy, and then you can see the layers, and I painted it and stuff. So the first step for making the paws was to print out all the little bits. So here are the beans. Let's see, yeah, there we go. We can scroll. It was, since they are all pretty much the same, you had to keep very good track of which one was which to work out which one goes into which hole. So these are the claws along here, and then these are the pads, and these are sort of join things. You can see the back of the pad, so that's like the palm pad in the middle, and it's printed with kind of like 5% infill, extremely thin wool, so it's squishy. And then the claws are much harder and done something else. And then I've got that a method of using tetrahydrofuran for gluing it together. You just sort of like hold the two pieces with a rubber band or something and just drop a couple of little drops of fluid in between it, and it sets like perfectly, like it was all made. The making of the pieces. So this is the fur. These are like the backs of the fingers, the sort of cuff, and the fronts of the fingers. And these holes here are the ones around the paw pads. And I was going to show you lots of blender work here, but I can't get blender running so easily here, and we're going to run out of time before I actually make a report. We'll move on to the next thing. So the inner gloves are kind of like an entire sheet of lycra right down the middle that's joining the seams that go from one side to the other. This is also cut on the laser cutter, and you can see that was like the back, and then the front side. So the back's trying to span through the entire width, and then there's a sort of like cutout sewn on top of it for your actual inside. So it's like a sandwich with a single web in some parts, and that's the index. The big fat thing here is the index fingers where they join, because you need you can well, you're going to see it because it's just from, but you've got 5 fingers to go into 4, and so 2 of them got to go together, and it's usually the index and middle finger that go together. There we have all these little tiny pieces and a little bit of blender work, because the moment I cut them all out, it was very easy to lose track of which piece was which. So I had to keep referring to the original drawing. The colors are like the distortions. There we go. Gradually getting the pieces together. It's all hand sewing with a kind of like a 1 mil seam allowance blanket stitches. It didn't take too long. Took a few hours to do each hand because they're not very big. And then this is testing that all the beans fitted in. I mean, oddly, even though the holes were all exactly the same size and all exactly so forth, the holes on in the fabric seem to be so much larger than the actual shape of the TPU. Didn't really know why. I mean, I've had a lot of kind of mysterious misalignments that I don't understand. I mean, everything else seemed to align, so maybe there's some kind of stretchy fabric. I don't know. The beans then get painted, I've found some jars of some sort of toothpaste tubes of acrylic paint and been painting them on. And then you paint the red bits for the claws, and there it is all fitting together with lots of like leftover um, bits of sewing. Yeah, so that's the inner lining sewed in. So the inner lining was quite a bit smaller because it's not wrapping actually around the convex bit. It's cutting the short thing. So it had to be sewn in sort of the fur was scrumpled up on the inside out. There is a bit, uh, and there's the sort of web around the so your little fingers going down the middle, and then that's sort of like sewn on the along the seam. I mean, it was a crazy design. It kind of worked, I think. There it is, your 4 paws, and then you had to yank the whole thing inside out when that was done. All right, yeah. Um, that's laser cutting. Yeah, as usual, laser cutting of fur, very important because you get left with all the little bits of fiber. They don't get touched, and there's a stack of like 15 pieces. Takes exactly 2.5 minutes to cut the entire lot. When you got it all stacked up, there's stacked up ready. That's like previous paw all together, and here we are starting to glue them in now. Okay, there's yeah. So I've acrylic painted, and then sort of put this sort of coating on it. It was supposed to be flexi paint, matte colored, matte clear flexi paint. Although it seemed to be kind of shiny, don't know why. Now, some genius on one of the work in progress Telegram groups about making fursuits told me about black hot glue. So the only way I'm going to attach these TPU things into the fur is using hot glue, and that's usually really messy, particularly when I do it, and it wouldn't look good. But someone told me about this black stuff. You can get it black, and then the black kind of is the same color as the fur. And so although you kind of bits of beads and stuff that's all a bit mucky, it doesn't look so bad, and it turns out to be more of kind of a feature that's the way that it's almost like a gum line growing onto the bean. So we just have lots of drips of black stuff everywhere. I think none of it went onto the floor. Oh, I guess that's it. Yeah. So next bit. Let me see. We're going to see. Yeah. So next bit's going to be the hands. They're gigantic. It's really difficult to actually get the second paw on once you put the first paw on, but they feel just right, and in terms of being exactly like you see them through VR. They just seem so much bigger in real life, but I guess many things kind of seem bigger in real life than they are through the camera. Yeah, next bit is I guess the feeties, which is quite a bit harder, and I'm also run out of TPU, so I've got to get a supply of that. But I will just call that a day. Stop recording.